The only thing they left me was my Nokia phone. It was like the small like brick phone where you could play Snake on it. Gabriel Kwesi Jones from Toronto, Canada, founder of Gifted, stationed here in Shenzhen, China, and you are watching Blackpats. Whenever I'm asked this question, I always say that people are either running away from something or running towards something. And in a way, I feel like I was doing both. I was in search for something, and I had to get away from the life that I was living. Not to say that my life was bad. I mean, prior to coming here, prior to coming to Shenzhen, I was working for the National Student Loans for about 6 years. After that, I found myself acting. After that, I found myself, well, actually, within acting, I was also doing some sales, recruiting for a very prestigious recruitment firm, York Search Group, worked for Xerox, and just honing all the skills that were necessary to survive was my take anyway. But yet there was still something missing. I felt like I wasn't whole. So the calling came, and prior to leaving the National Student Loan, a colleague of mine that just got himself certified to teach English as a second language and provided me with all the contacts. And I sat on the information for about 2 years. So when I got to the crossroads, after I finished working for the National Student Loans and I was doing the sales and acting, and then I remember, I was like, oh wait, there's information about getting certified to teach English as a second language. Well, it gives us an opportunity to travel. Well, why not do that? So I did that. I took the training, I got certified, put my resume out there, and within a week, I was called. Prior to coming to China, the life that I had, it wasn't bad. It was just a whole new life. You see, I had bought my first apartment, my condo in Canada, and I was feeling like the king of the world, right? New condo. So what did I do after that? Well, I went and bought a car, bought a motorcycle. I was just living like, I don't know, a bachelor would live, right? I was young, I was single, I had money coming in, I was working for a really good company, and I was like, well, why not live? Well, I lived, but I wasn't educated. I wasn't educated in how to manage my finances. So what happens when you're not educated about your finances? Well, I found myself with $40,000 in debt. That's what happens. And I was scared, mindless. I don't want to cuss, so I won't. But I was scared out of my mind. I was like, okay, I'm gonna lose my house. I don't want to do that. I worked hard for this. And I was really attached to possessions. A lot of us are, right? We have this false perception of like the things that we buy, we own, and they're ours for life. And so what did I do? I went around asking as many people, okay, what do I do? I don't want to lose my house. What do I do? What do I do? And everybody was just pointing towards, oh, well, you know, file for a consumer proposal, file for bankruptcy. I was like, why? Like, well, if you want to protect yourself, do that. That actually was the biggest mistake. And I'll get into that a little bit later. However, I ended up doing that. I had to file for a consumer proposal and I had to pay back my debts. I went from living like a king to being just depressed. I was just down and out. And I think that was part of the reason why I was in search for something else, because I was just unhappy. So what did I have to do? Well, when I decided to pursue China, when I decided to pursue this new life, I had to make sure of something. The first thing I did was I made sure all my debts were paid. Actually, I didn't even know that I had enough money to pay off the rest of my debts, but I did. I went and unlocked whatever I had in my savings and my RRSPs, and I paid it off. And I was like, oh, well, actually, I could have done this before it went to the level that it got to. Anyway, I did it. I made sure that happened so that my new chapter that I started was going to be clean. To be honest, the biggest shock for me was how clean and how wealthy it looked here in Shenzhen. I mean, high rises, pavements were like marble for most part. It looks like it's marble that they use for their outside sidewalks. And the amount of luxury cars, Lamborghinis, Porsches, Bentleys, I saw more Bentleys than all of Canada, just in Shenzhen alone. So I was thrown back because in the media it portrays China as like a country where you have a lot of rickshaws and like people on bicycles and dirty streets. But when you come and see it for yourself, it's a whole new world. I must say, while being here in Shenzhen, I am thoroughly, I'm ecstatic with the fact that the gun violence is literally zero. So when it comes to safety, that's priority for me, especially now that I have a family. And to know that I can walk down the street and not be shot at, that no one's going to jump out at me with a gun and tell me to give up my jacket or, you know, my wallet, that to me is phenomenal. And there's CCTV everywhere, so if anything does happen, you know that, you know, Big Brother's watching. The ability to travel to other Asian countries is by far amazing, and the price is very economically friendly when you're stationed out here in China. How fast things get done in terms of construction. I've seen a building get torn down within 3 weeks, and I've seen buildings, high-rises go up within 6 months. It's basically non-stop. They make sure that they work until the mission is complete, essentially. For the holidays, the holidays, so you have your Spring Festival. That's when a lot of the Chinese go back to their hometown for the most part. For those of you that have businesses out in North America, essentially outside of China, you know that if you're putting in orders, if you're sourcing from China, if you don't get it in before January of the new year, you're probably gonna have to wait until March or April before you get your products. That's because for the month and a half, everything basically in China is at a standstill. That will give you the opportunity to relax with your family, go back home if you're stationed out here in China, or you can travel around Southeast Asia if you're a travel connoisseur. So these are all some of the greatest things that you can enjoy while you're here in China. We're gonna get to the harsh truths. Now the harsh truths here, so I've got a little girl now here in Shenzhen. She was born here in Shenzhen, and I mean, I like people being really polite and saying, you know, she's cute or how could I? That's great. What I don't like, however, is when they reach out and try to like pet her, touch her hair and stuff like that. That is something I definitely don't think is cool. Smoking, tobacco could use a rinse or two. Like maybe just not smoke at all. The escalators. It's surprising to me because it's translated in English and it also is in Mandarin where it says stand on your right, walk on your left. And sometimes, like in the beginning, it was really infuriating because it's like, dudes, what are y'all doing? Like, it's simple. Organization. But then, you know, you learn to just say, okay, you know what? Excuse me, I gotta walk up here because I got someplace to be. But still, that could use some improvement. Stand on your left or right, walk on your left, okay? One of my pet peeves is like when I'm communicating with somebody and they don't respond back. I don't get this too much, but there are some people that have experienced the yes when it's a yes when it's a no, and then you have the it's like, well, I'm left in limbo. Like, what's going on? Is it a yes or is it a no? You know, so like that could use some. I know it's hard sometimes to say no to someone's face, but just rip it off like a band-aid. If it's a no, say a no. If it's a yes, say a yes. Communication, that's one of my pillars, one of my virtues. So that could also use a little bit of improvement. Moments I'm not proud of. Crazy experience here that I've had thus far is, all right, so one of my first outings when I came here a couple of years back, they took me out to go drink in Coco Park. I think it was Viva. I think the name of the place was Viva at the time. It started off with just, I think it was Johnny Walker's. I'm not too sure. I'm not a drinker really, so I figured, you know what? I'll have a few socially, you know, I'm interacting, I'm getting to know the people around me, I'm getting to know this whole new area. Why not? And I didn't think much of it. So after that, we moved to Pepper, just had a glass of wine then. I thought I was okay, because I feel like, you know, I can hold my liquor. And I decided to go home. You know, my friends are asking me, hey, you good to go? I'm like, yeah, you know, I'm fine, everything's cool. I get in the cab now, and I know I'm a little tipsy because I'm feeling the buzz, I'm feeling nice. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna sleep well tonight. So before it pulls up to my building in KK Mall, I asked the cab driver to drop me off in front of the bank. There's an ICBC bank across the street from the KK Mall. So I take out a few bills, and I remember going to the bank machine. I remember taking out money, and I remember, okay, I'm gonna walk home now because it's just across the street. And then things just get a little blurrier from there. And there's one instant I've got my arm around two people, and I'm looking at one, and then I nod my head, I smile, and then it goes black again. And then I wake up, and it's morning, and I'm not inside my house. I'm actually outside of a metro station. I get woken up by security or police, and they just wake me up, and I'm like, okay, oh, I'm up, I'm not sleeping. It's quick. Yeah, I get home now, and I realize my shirt is inside out. It's got dirt all over it. My pockets are out. The cash that was in my pocket is gone. The watch, it was a black fossil watch with a small little diamond on the face of it. But that was gone, so I didn't have to worry about that anymore. And the only thing they left me was my Nokia phone. It was like the small, like, brick phone where you could play Snake on it. And they left that for me. Nice of them. Yeah, very nice of them. But needless to say, that was the last time I drank, basically, in Shenzhen. One of the biggest lessons so far, being a self-starter. When you got an idea, when you got like a spark, even if it's a small one, go with it. I say that because of the fact that I wasn't too sure what was gonna happen. And I met with my now business partner and co-founder of Gifted, and we were able to essentially put together our vision of what we desire for people in this world and create a company that's been doing fairly well. Don't take things personally. There are gonna be things that happen here might not rub you the right way. You're gonna run into a lot of known racism, but that's just because what they're used to is a certain look, a certain appearance. Everything is all about appearance. You might run into certain situations where you will feel like things are unfair, or things are purposely being put up as barricades for you because of the fact that you're a black expat. What happens is, if you take it personally, it will do you more harm than it does good, because you can actually use that to your advantage here, as the fact that you are a black expat and you have a lot of richness in your culture, in your skills, and in your abilities, and that your ideas are valid and are wanted, and you just have to find other creative ways or a resilient way of achieving them. And being here, you have an opportunity to do that. So you decided to come to China. You're looking for where to start. I've said this before, I usually don't like just giving advice without it being solicited, but I feel like this one, if you're watching this, you're watching for a reason. And so let me give you some words of wisdom. As a black expat, expect to be met with the same kind of resistance that you see in North America. Be prepared to meet the same kind of negativity that you see in the newspapers. I've already mentioned that, black people have one of the toughest mentalities of all time, in my opinion. Why is that? Because of the fact that we've experienced a lot of hardship. However, I believe where we can do better in the way we portray ourselves is that we don't necessarily have to always come with an aggressive tone. I think we can be firm, we can be vigilant in the way that we respond to some of the negativities, but it doesn't have to be with violence. I think when you're approached with any form of racism, any form of fear, not hate, because it's fear. That's the true feeling there. When you're approached with fear, don't respond with fear. We have people like ACOM who are working towards portraying the African community in a better light. We owe it to people like like that to continue to show that black people are not just good at entertainment, they're not just good at sports, they're not just good at dance. There's a world of knowledge that black people have, creativity, innovation, inquiring minds, and we need to see more of that. So if you are a black expat and you are talented, you are gifted in more than just sports, music, dance, you owe it to the rest of the world to show us, let people know. So I hope that you enjoyed what you watched here today, what you listened to today. Very honored to be part of this project. Gotta say a big shout out to my man Stuart Morrow. Thanks for putting us on. And I say us because together we are one. We have to stop seeing ourselves as separate from one another, especially when it comes to the black expat community. But whenever you're abroad and you see another fellow brother or sister, please do not hesitate to nod and smile. If you have a second, stop, have a conversation with one another, and figure out what's brought them abroad. Maybe they're there for just a pass-through, or maybe they're there because they've set up shop, and get to know them, get to figure out what they're all about, and share what you're all about, because it's important. It's important that together we reshape the image of the black expat community. If you want to follow me, find out what I've been up to, find out what's going on, what's new, you can find me on Instagram at Gabriel K. Jones. Same handle for Facebook, same handle for the brand and the website. One love to you all.